Good morning. Happy almost Labor Day. Anybody know when that started? 1894. Calvin Coolidge made it a national holiday. Remember when you were kids, or if you ever were a kid, remember they had parades and all kinds of stuff going on Labor Day? They don't do anything anymore, do they? Except to have a holiday.
And sail.
And what?
And sail.
And sail? Oh, and Labor Day sale. Yeah, no, it's very, very true. Interesting about Labor Day, though, and labor in general, I read a couple of real cool articles about that. Manufacturing is actually coming back to this country. That's kind of cool. You know, back in the early 90s, countries couldn't wait to outsource, go to the places where it's cheaper labor and all that kind of stuff. Well, interestingly enough, now the labor in those countries is going up. And all of a sudden, with escalating transportation costs and everything, labor is starting to actually come back. They're starting to actually produce a lot of things in this country now that they didn't before. In fact, there's been a new resurgence of local manufacturing. And instead of actually saying made in the U.S., it's made in Brooklyn or made in New York or made in California. So it's kind of interesting having these micro labels and everything. The other interesting part is that as the jobs come back to this country, especially manufacturing type jobs, unlike when they left, they were more line workers and everything. As they come back, it's more technology. So the workers have to be basically trained more, and the companies aren't willing to do the training because they're worried that people are going to take the training and go somewhere else. The colleges are kind of behind in some or maybe even a lot of the training. So there's literally hundreds of thousands of jobs out there for trained workers that nobody's trained for. Interesting. Germany has got an interesting idea. They actually have called a technology manufacturing degree. And it's actually a 2-year program with all the high school dropouts. This 2-year program starts in high school as a senior and goes 1 more year afterwards. What an interesting idea. Come on, people, get your act together. We need to make sure stuff like that stays here if we can. If we can. Obviously, it's a global economy anymore. But anyway, enough of Labor Day. Have a wonderful time. Sunday services, obviously, today's Healing Sunday. You know, if you've never been here before, is there anybody that hasn't been here before? Oh, really? I could swear I recognize you.
Oh, for Healing Sundays.
Oh, okay. Well, no, that's okay. That's okay. Well, I'm glad I wasn't going crazy because I thought I recognized you. Deja vu. You know, we talked about deja vu, didn't we? But, so this is Healing Sunday. So if you've never been to one or you haven't been to one in a long time, you know, it's always different. It's always different. Sometimes it's more hands-on, maybe a little bit. Sometimes not. Mind Shifters Wednesday. Lotus Group on Friday. New calendar. Article on the back. Stress Busters by Janice. So, and we... Congratulations. They do. New group grandson. Yeah, I bet some of you didn't know what they were congratulated for. But hey, congratulations! We do have a couple patron saints, George Carlin and John Lennon.
Yay, George and John.
Yeah. George, when you step on the brakes, your life is in your foot's hands. Probably true. And John, time you enjoy wasting was not wasted. So there. All right. Lots of stuff going on, as always. Things that make you go, You know where that came from was Arsenio Hall. Here's something terrible you don't want to hear. He's been off the air for almost 20 years. Well, the show that came from, yeah, that show was on the air from 1989 to 1994. Isn't that interesting? I don't want to hear. Social tact is making your company feel at home, even though you wish they were. It is the property of fools to be always judging. If you take too long in deciding what to do with your life, you'll find you've already done it. Remember, kids. When the mouse laughs at the cat, there's a hole nearby. It's a Nigerian proverb. Interesting.
Mice get around.
Yeah, they do. They do. Hey! Where are you? There you are.
My name's Heidi, and I work at...
Wait.
Oh, I have a screamer of a voice? Okay. All right, my name is Heidi, and I work at Catholic Neurological Resource Center. I'm going to start passing these while I'm talking.
I can give the mic so I can hear you on the
I'm just passing those while I'm talking. We provide education and support to people with neurological disorders. We have support groups, a lending library that's huge, one-on-one support, educational presentations, and a newsletter. And we have a real great presentation coming up Thursday night. I don't know if you've heard of Jill Bolte Taylor. She, if you Google her TED Talk, prepare to really have your life changed. It's 18 minutes, but completely worth it. She was a brain researcher at Harvard, and at the age of 39 had a massive stroke. And she talks in her book called A Stroke of Insight about how she thought it was very cool to be a brain researcher and get to watch one from the inside out. But what she lost was pretty much everything, her whole left side of her brain. She couldn't walk, talk, eat, anything. She was left in a place that she calls nirvana, a place that I think this group of people would really respond to. And she wanted to stay there. It took her 8 years to recover, but she realized that she had a message to share, that we can choose to go there at any time. And so that's when she said it was her stroke of insight, and she wrote the book. Time magazine named her one of the 100 most influential people in the world for the message that she has. She has teamed up with a folk music performer whose music really informed her recovery. And they now present this transformative stories. And what the evening will be, Jill will talk from the left side of the stage, it's like the left side of our brains, and do the logical how you put a day together kind of story of her life. And then Carrie Newcomer will perform music from the right side of the stage as the right brain. They will go back and forth. And the whole point of the evening is to give hope, but also that when you are experiencing this, they said you will feel the difference in the left side and right sides of your brain, and when you see the difference, you can choose the difference. And her motto is, peace is only a thought away. So I thought this room of folks would probably really like to know about it, and it's going to be a wonderful evening. It is $25 a ticket. There is a few tickets for a VIP reception where you get to be with the presenters, but sign up and come early, because right now we have almost about 400 people signed up. So it's going to be a big deal kind of an event, and I'd love to see you all there. I think you'd really enjoy coming.
Thank you so much. You've talked in front of people before, haven't you?
I did.
Yeah, good job. Good job. In fact, I was so engrossed, I completely forgot what I was going to say. Imagine. The irony of life. The irony of life. The irony of life. By the time you're old enough to know your way around, you're not going anywhere. God made man before woman so as to give him time to think of an answer for her first question. And here's my first answer. There's a Honda in the back parking lot honking its head off. Seriously. If somebody has a Honda and they're parked in the back, apparently their alarm's going off. I don't know, they said a Honda in the back parking lot. Not, he just went out the front. Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe not. I was always taught to respect my elders, but it keeps getting harder to find one. I hate that kind of stuff. More grandkid stuff. After putting her grandchildren to bed, grandmother changed into her old slacks and droopy blouse and proceeded to wash her hair. As she heard the children getting more and more rambunctious, her patience grew thin. Finally, she threw a towel around her head and stormed into the room, putting them back to bed with stern warnings. As she left the room, she heard the 3-year-old say in her trembling voice, "Who was that?" Grandma in a head. Ooh, yeah, gotta be scary. Gotta be scary. This one was cut off a little bit, so I'm going to try to figure out. Yeah, a little bit. Mary, Queen of Scots, I'm sure that's who they're talking about, because they're talking about France as a young girl. Louis, King of France, learned that she loved the Scots game golf. He had the first course outside of Scotland built for her enjoyment, to make sure she was properly chaperoned and guarded while she played. Louis hired cadets from a military school to accompany her. Mary liked this a lot, and when returned to Scotland, not a very good idea in the long run. She took the practice with her. In French, the word cadet is pronounced cadet, and the Scots changed it into caddy. Bet you didn't know where caddy came from. Now you know. Why are many coin collection jar banks shaped like pigs? Piggy banks.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Why do they do that? I always wondered this. Long ago, probably 20 years at least. So, dishes and cookware in Europe were made of a dense orange clay called pig, P-Y-G-G. When people saved coins in jars made of this clay, the jars became known as pig banks. When an English potter misunderstood the word, he made a container that resembled a pig, and it caught on. Who knew? Who knew? Oh, I didn't do this one, did I? Nope, I didn't do this one. Medieval Dutch seamen were very daring and adventurous. In order to take long voyages, they devised a special cookhouse on board their ships. They called this kitchen a caboose, C-A-B-U-E-U-S-E, a blend of two Dutch words, kabenhoef, and meaning cabin house or ship's galley. About the 18th century, Dutch settlers in America used the term to stand for any small cabin or hut. By 1860, train crews across America had adopted caboose into their speech as meaning the last or a trainman's car in the freight train. Incidentally, caboose has never been used by British railroaders. To them, a caboose is a brake van. That's interesting. Brake van. Anything where you do break dances. Reality is only an illusion that occurs due to the lack of school.
Encore.
Reality is only an illusion that occurs due to a lack of alcohol. Changes the meaning completely, doesn't it? If at first you don't succeed, skydiving is not for you. Don't drink and drive. You might hit a bump and spill something. These are jokes, okay? Yeah, okay. Money isn't everything, but it sure keeps the kids in touch. Okay. I saw a statistic the other day that I'm still having a hard time believing. Oh, worked. 18 to 34-year-olds, I think that's Generation Y, Gen Yers. They said that 70% of that group of kids, no, but they depend on their parents for most of their, or part of their income.
Yeah, well, then maybe those
Wow. Haven't yet. So, oh, let's sing a song. And I